Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. You may have heard the great news that we'll shortly be making a Siyum Maseches on Maseches Eruvin, having completed or soon completing with Daf Yomi. That's going to be coming up this Sunday night. Mazel tov to all the Messiahim. But most importantly, what this means is that it is time to start a brand new Masechta. And it is here that I want to make a very, very strong pitch and encourage anyone and everyone who has had some inkling to perhaps join Daf Yomi in the past, and for whatever reason it hasn't quite panned out, now should be the time that you do it. This coming Monday night, we're starting a brand new Masechta, and it's Maseches Pesachim. So first and foremost, listen, what's so extraordinary about Daf Yomi is that it is ever present. We all know that Ad Me'eva Esrim Shana, we're going to get up to the pearly gates. They're going to ask us, Kavata Itum LaTorah, did you establish time for Torah study? Daf Yomi, perhaps more than any other limud, is a way that we become constantly aware of that obligation, of that responsibility that we have to the Torah, that we have to study HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah. What makes it challenging is also what makes it great. It means that it's always there. It means that you can't go to bed that night without having thought about, well, what about today's daf? Did I really sit down and learn? Did I put in my hour? Did I put in my time? Did I pay my dues to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah? That presence of the daf always being there, the knowledge of the daf always being there, is really what makes it in part so extraordinary. And the reality is that, yes, this is challenging. It can be a major commitment. But I think that Pesachim, perhaps more, certainly more than the Masechta that we're now coming out of, certainly more than Maseches Eruvin, Maseches Pesachim is such a wonderful, wonderful limud. It's such a wonderful Masechta to jump into Daf Yomi. It lends itself to a far greater degree to Daf Yomi, far more concepts that we have greater familiarity with, of course, having kept and celebrated Pesach for so many years. But it is here also that I would like to point out that Maseches Pesachim begins this Monday night, and it ends on the 9th of Nisan. What an extraordinary way to spend the next number of months preparing properly for Pesach. Each and every year, we pour so much time and so much energy into the actual physical needs of Pesach, cooking and cleaning, everything that we need to do around the house and around our kitchens. What a wonderful way to start early to make sure that when we enter Pesach, we have a greater knowledge base than we ever have before, that we're more familiar with the halachic concepts, the ideas and the ideals that emerge from Pesach that are all threaded through this extraordinary Masechta. So I would make a very, very strong pitch to really consider this. Bear in mind that in about 7 years from now, so many are going to be joining back in that Siyum Hashas celebration. Be part of it. To only be a few Masechtas behind, to be able to sit there in 7 years from now and to be able to say to yourself, you know what? In just a few months from now, in just a few extra Masechtas, this is going to be me, because I started with Pesachim, and I'm very, very quickly emerging at the other end of that tunnel. You need not begin from the very outset, the very beginning of the cycle. This really is such an extraordinary, such a wonderful, wonderful place to begin, and be part of the emerging Kol Torah of our Beis Medrash, be part of filling the shul with the sounds of Torah each and every night. It's really been so wonderful and so gratifying to be a part of that. If you haven't been a part of it already, then this is really a great way to be able to enter into that fold and be able to get on what's just been such an inspirational bandwagon. So I'm putting this out before Shabbos, both because it's just a few days and it may require some retooling of schedules to really think about how we're going to do this. But also, I think more than anything, this is really a family conversation. I know that when I go out to do the daf, or I sit down to do the daf every night, it's a real Mesiras Nefesh, certainly not only on my part, but ever more so on the part of my family, my wife and my children, who are so encouraging and who root for me and who want to see this happen and who want to see this get done. But really, this becomes not only a family celebration at the end and with the Siyum, but this becomes family involvement. So this is something to think about. This is something to talk about, hopefully over the course of Shabbos. Have a conversation amongst your family, what it could do to your entire family dynamic, your entire family culture, to put Talmud Torah first and foremost, front and center of our entire daily schedule and ultimately our entire lives. Becomes a great way when there's this sense that we're all moving through this Masechta together. Becomes really such a great binding force for the family and a way for everybody to root on Talmud Torah and to make it such an important part of their lives. Please consider, if anybody has any specific questions or interest, and you want to speak us out a little bit more, please don't hesitate. Get in contact, get in touch with me, and I'd be more than happy to continue this conversation. Please, something to consider this coming Monday night, 8:15 p.m., both in the shul live. Baruch Hashem, we have this beautiful, spacious area now. We've all been able to sit with adequate social distance and masked and in as possible safe environment, or as safe as possible environment as feasible, and also still available live on Zoom for anybody who's interested. Hope you'll consider joining us, and looking forward to seeing you not only at the beginning, but also, God willing, Amir Hashem, when it comes time for that Siyum Masechta on the 9th of Nisan.